Hey everybody, it's me. Just lovely. Alright, we're going to talk about why this is so freaking lovely. This is obviously my post-market wrap-up for this day, Monday, July 16th, 2018. Number one, why is this especially lovely once again? Because if you watched the video that I did Saturday, I explained to you that I wanted to see several things happen today, and I believed that they would, and guess what? My wish came true, or my prediction came true. Today was beautiful, and there's a couple of things that are being set up right now that I want to talk about that we will capitalize on, period. But before I go there, let's go here. So today, we heard from the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, who is warning that global economic growth appears to have plateaued. That's the word, plateaued. Plateau, what does that remind you of? Like kind of look out below, you have a plateau? Why would they choose that word, plateau? They could have said peaked, which would have been the same kind of thing, but you think of a peak and think of like a slide coming down, but a plateau is like a drop. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, but that's the word they used, not me. And then we got Neel Kashkari, who just happens to be, I'm going to get crucified for what I'm about to tell you, but he's a friend of mine on LinkedIn. Neel Kashkari. Okay, what did Fed President Neel Kashkari say today? Well, he sounds a lot like Greg Mannarino. Maybe Neil. Come on now. Come on, Neil. You know you watch my work. Let's get it out there now. Let's clarify for everybody. Well, Neil, Mr. Kashkari, I don't mean you any disrespect, sir. I mean that. Is trying to get his point across that, and it's well taken, at least by, I believe, my followers here, that this yield curve is a problem and that this time is no different than the other time. So, honestly, congratulations to you, Mr. Kashkari, for telling the truth here. That's really the bottom line, and I think we all get it, but most people are just so freaking zombified and out of touch with reality that they just, they will believe everything that they are fist-fed big time. Okay, so let's back up just a little bit here. So we had today a couple of factors that kept this market from taking a big plunge, and a few things are falling in place that appear to be very stock market positive. Now, if you watch the bond market today, and I posted some pictures of some screenshots of this right off of my website, you can still see it now if you're watching this video on my website, right into the bond market, traderschoice.net. We had a hardcore sell-off here in the bond market. I mean, bam! The dollar also got weaker. And if you noticed, and I actually spoke about this too in real time, when they started to buy up those bonds, stocks started to catch a little bit of a bid. You can see how dependent, 100% dependent stocks are with regard to what's going on here in the bond market. Going back to now what Mr. Kashkari is saying, don't listen to Greg Mannarino anymore. Listen to these other guys if you don't want to believe me. But anyway, so here's the situation. The weaker dollar here, which actually is bizarre because metal fell under pressure today, although cryptos were off to the races today. If you follow cryptos, you know that. They really caught a bid today, which makes me a little bit happy because I do own some of this stuff. You all know that. Okay. The weaker dollar here is going to continue. The bond market sell-off will not be allowed to continue. So what does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? It means stocks will go higher. Period. It's not real. You all know that. That's the beauty of this entire thing, that we are in a fake environment, and you and I, just by knowing that it's fake, can capitalize on this. I bought nothing today. I did watch the financials. I should have bought financials this morning. I mean, I spoke about it in the video that I did this morning. I mean, I had my finger on the trigger. I was going to buy calls there on XLF. At that point this morning, it was up about 0.8 of a percent. It finished well above that. I would have done good today. But I personally like to bet with the overall trend of the market. For example, if stocks overall were going higher, I might have jumped in there on the financials or something else. You know, you all know the 9 stocks that I like to trade. I mean, it's right in the center of my website, traderschoice.net, right above the swing trading chart. So that also, that's another reason why I was a little reluctant to jump in on there. But I want to see the trend of the market and bet with it. I don't want to go against it. Market going down, a little bit under pressure now. I'm buying calls on financials. I could have done that, but it wasn't worth the effort. It really wasn't. I've been sweating it all day long. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. So that's another lesson for all you new traders. Trade with the overall trend of the market. Use that. The trend is always your friend. So period. Now that is another thing I want to talk about. Big time. So this market today, if they did not get in here and prop up those financials and or stop the bleeding, it was a combination of things. In the bond market, this stock market would have taken a wallop today, and I would have loved to have seen that. Does that mean there's more downside tomorrow? I don't know yet. Market could, I mean, if they continue to prop up the financials here, if they continue to prop up the bond market here, especially that bond market, stocks will move higher. Now, another thing, and I wrote about this, I posted it on Twitter and everywhere else, I believe guidance from this market is not going to come from the financial sector, which a lot of people are talking about, because financials, I mean, come on, unless you live under a rock, have not done well at all for a long time. And it's not going to change with this flattening yield curve. Neil Kashkari. So the market is going to look for guidance from another sector. I believe it's going to be tech. I think you all know that. Hold on a second. Some silly thing popped up on my screen. Anyway, so I would suggest looking at Apple, Intel, and Microsoft. These are among my favorite stocks that I like to trade. I'm not saying buy these tomorrow. Go to my website, look at the price action on the charts I have provided you. Look underneath those charts for that sentiment gauge, whether you should be buying or selling. I'm trying to make this very simple for you. Watch that bond market chart. See if they're buying up those bonds. Watch the dollar. We want to see it get weaker. You understand? Very simple, very straightforward, and this is how we are going to make this work now. Tomorrow morning, we'll see what happens here, and I'll talk about it in my video in the morning. Anyway, just interesting, just to real summarize. We have a warning from the IMF. We have some truth here coming from a Fed president. Really, I have to actually say thank you to Mr. Kashkari for this, for actually shedding a little light on what's really going on. But you know, Neil, they're not going to talk about it. You know that. You know you're a pretty big name out there. They will not allow people to see your work like that. You know this to be true. You know this to be true as well. I think you're a lot smarter than the Confederacy. I don't believe you are a member of the Confederacy or Confederacies, especially when you come out and start talking about a little bit of truth here. Yield curve is a problem. We all know that. At least my followers know that. Well, everyone else is walking around in La La Land or Gaga Land or whatever the hell land they want to walk in. You know, you just search around and you find a little bit of truth here. But that does not mean this market is not going to go higher. The environment here remains stock market positive. And we'll see how this plays out. With that said, see you later.